There's a phrase I hear all the time in the grocery store, at the park, in comments online, and it's almost always said with warmth, sometimes with nostalgia, sometimes with a genuine heartfelt longing. And the phrase is 3 words: enjoy every moment. And I'm gonna tell you why, as a couples therapist who works exclusively with parents, I will never, ever say that to you, because I know how it often lands. In my therapy office, especially with mothers, I see the flicker in their eyes when they hear it. It doesn't land like inspiration. It lands like a judgment. It lands like, don't complain. You should be more grateful. You'll miss this one day. So why aren't you happy now? Other people have it so much worse. And when you are bone deep exhausted, when you've been woken up for the 5th time in a single night, when you and your partner are barely speaking, moving around each other like ghosts in your own home, when your child is struggling socially, academically, emotionally, and you feel utterly powerless to fix it, enjoy every moment doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a weapon. It feels invalidating. And today we're going to talk about why that feeling is not only valid, but it's rooted in brain science. If you're a parent who has ever felt a wave of guilt or anger after being told to cherish this time, then this video is for you. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a new framework. I'm going to give you permission to stop chasing joy and start building something far more durable: connection. Hi, I'm Catherine O'Brien. I'm a couples therapist here in Sacramento, California, and I help parenting couples navigate the intense pressures of modern family life. Not by pretending it's easy, but by honoring how hard it is. Let's talk about the pressure, because we don't usually say this part out loud. Culturally, and we see this especially with mothers, there's a dual expectation that is frankly impossible. You are expected to carry the vast, invisible mental load of the entire family, and you're expected to radiate gratitude while doing it. Think about it. Dads often get praise for showing up or doing the basics. Moms get criticized for not doing enough, or not being enough, and for not feeling enough of the right emotions. So when someone says, enjoy every moment, it lands on top of a pile of pressure that is already suffering, that is already suffocating. And if you're in a high-achieving family where performance, sports, academics, public image, and emotional self-control are highly valued, that pressure intensifies tenfold. Now, you're not just supposed to enjoy it, you're supposed to do it perfectly. Here's the scientific truth that we just kind of steamroll over these cultural platitudes. Enjoyment requires regulation, savoring, gratitude, presence. These are sophisticated functions of a calm, safe, regulated nervous system. When a parent is chronically sleep deprived, overstimulated by noise and touch, and stressed about finances or their child's well-being, their body is not operating from the part of the brain responsible for savoring. It's operating from survival. So let's get a little technical for just a minute, because this is the key that unlocks so much self-compassion. When you're under constant stress, your body's alarm system, the HPA axis, is constantly firing. It's flooding your system with stress hormones, cortisol. And then prolonged cortisol dysregulation, it messes with your mood stability, it messes with your memory, and your ability to plan and make decisions. Now, add in sleep deprivation, and research shows that a lack of sleep directly impairs the most evolved part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. This is your hub for things like impulse control, emotional regulation, and flexible thinking. So when it's not working, it's offline, what do you get? You get a shorter fuse, you get increased irritability, you get black and white thinking, you snap at your partner for leaving a dish in the sink. I've never done that. Guilty, right? Not because you're a jerk, but because your brain has lost its ability to regulate. Meanwhile, your brain's primitive threat detector, the amygdala, becomes hyper reactive. This is what we call an amygdala hijack. And I talk about this in my book, Happy with Baby, Relationship Advice for Partners Who Become Parents. Every little thing feels like a major threat. The spilled milk, the toddler tantrum, the email from the teacher, it all triggers disproportionate sense of panic or rage. From a polyvagal lens, which is a way of understanding our nervous system states, a chronically overwhelmed parent is often stuck bouncing between two states. A sympathetic activation, that feeling of anxiety, of being revved up, of urgency, and you're scanning for threats. You can't sit still, your heart is racing. And a dorsal shutdown, which is that feeling of being numb, withdrawn, foggy, and completely exhausted. You're just going through the motions. In those states, the survival states, joy is not the nervous system's priority. Safety is. So when someone says, enjoy every moment to a parent whose body is in this physiological state, it is the biological equivalent of asking someone sprinting away from a bear to stop and admire the scenery. It's absurd. Your body literally cannot do it. And I see this dynamic play out in my office every single week. And it's one of the most common patterns that brings couples to therapy. So one partner, often the one carrying the larger mental load, is stuck in that sympathetic, reactive state. They are overwhelmed, they are critical, they are anxious, and they're trying to control everything to feel a sliver of safety. The other partner, seeing this intensity, often gets into a shutdown or defensive state. They withdraw, they get quiet, they might retreat into their work or their phone, and the cycle begins. She escalates, trying to get a response to feel seen in her overwhelm. He withdraws further, feeling attacked and flooded, and she feels abandoned and alone. So she criticizes more. Why don't you ever help? He shuts down completely, feeling like nothing he does is ever right. Both feel completely and utterly alone in the same house. And what's underneath it all? It's not two people who don't love each other, and it's not a sign that your marriage is doomed. It's two overloaded nervous systems stuck in a threat response, unable to find their way back to each other. Because when you are in a chronic survival mode, connection becomes a casualty, not because you don't care, but because your emotional bandwidth is gone. Your capacity for empathy, for patience, for playfulness, it's been consumed by the physiological need to just get through the day. That phrase, enjoy every moment, becomes uniquely painful, almost cruel, when your child is the one who is struggling. When they're having a hard time in school, when they can't seem to make friends, when they're battling anxiety or depression, when they feel left out, bullied, or misunderstood, and you can't fix it. For many parents, especially high-achieving parents who are used to solving problems, this hits deep, that primal wound, the wound of powerlessness. I am their parent. I should be able to make this better. That feeling of hopelessness can feel intolerable. The guilt creeps in, the fear of their future, the threat to your own identity as a good parent. You love your child so deeply, it aches, and you hate watching them suffer. And that doesn't make you ungrateful for the gift of your child. It makes you a human being with a heart that is breaking, and you're not required to enjoy a season of watching your child in pain. You're allowed to grieve it. So I don't tell parents to enjoy every moment. I tell them this: connection matters more than constant joy. Let's redefine the goal. The goal isn't a performance of happiness. The goal is the anchor of connection, especially in the storm. What does that connection actually look like? It's not grand gestures, but small, quiet, and consistent. It looks like repairing after you snap, going to your child and saying, "I'm sorry I yelled. I was feeling overwhelmed. That wasn't about you. I love you." It looks like sitting next to your silent teenager on the couch, not forcing a conversation, just sharing that same space. It looks like a 10-second hug before they run out the door for school, long enough for both of your nervous systems to settle. It looks like making eye contact with your partner across a chaotic dinner table, a silent acknowledgement of, "I see you, we're in this together." And it looks like telling yourself, "I don't have to fix this feeling for them. I just have to be there with them so they're not alone in it." That's co-regulation, and it's not about making your child or your partner feel better. It's about being a calm, steady presence with them in their distress so their nervous system can borrow from yours. Joy is not something you perform. Joy is an emergent property of safety. It follows a sequence. First comes safety. When you feel safe, your nervous system can regulate. When you're regulated, you build capacity for patience, for empathy. From that capacity, you can build connection. And it is from that soil of connection that authentic, unforced joy can finally grow. If safety is missing, joy won't stick. And here's the truth I want you to walk away with. You can love your child with every cell in your body and still hate the season of parenting. That is allowed. Every season isn't for every parent. Some thrive with babies and feel lost with teenagers. And some find their footing in the teenage years after struggling through the toddler stage. The variability doesn't mean you're not a good parent. It means you're a person. There were seasons in my own parenting and still are where I've loved my children fiercely and I still counted the minutes until bedtime. And that didn't cancel out the love I have for them. It just meant I was a human and I was tired. So if you are white knuckling a season right now, you are exhausted, you and your partner feel more like roommates than lovers. If your child is struggling and you feel helpless, you are not required to enjoy survival. You are allowed to seek regulation. You are allowed to repair. You are allowed to need and ask for support. Connection is built in the hard seasons, not in pretending they're easy. And if you want help learning how to build that connection as a couple or individually, I would be honored to walk with you. You can find out more about my work at my website, happywithbaby.com. Now, the biggest question I get after this is, okay, I'm dysregulated, but what do I actually do about it? My next video, I'm going to break down 3 practical in-the-moment strategies you and your partner can use to co-regulate when you feel a fight starting. You can click to watch it right here, and thanks for being here today.